Joining me now is Edan Alexander, the father of Israeli-American hostage Edan Alexander, who is still being held by Hamas. Adi, thank you for your time today, and our prayers obviously continue for you and your family and for Edan as well. I just want to share for the folks at home who haven't had a chance to see it. This is from the president. He made a post this morning. It says Hamas has just released 3 hostages from Gaza, including an American citizen. He goes on to say they seem to be in good shape. This differs from their statement last week that they would not release any hostages. Israel will now have to decide what they will do about the 12 o'clock today deadline imposed on the release of all hostages. The U.S. will back the decision they make. Your reaction to what the president had to say there?
I say we keep going with the deal. I mean, this deal, it's not perfect. As you see, every week it's taking too long, and the hostages being released in a good shape sometimes, in a bad shape the other. And we can't get them in a tips and drips. We have to get a bunch of them out, hopefully all of them out in a shorter term.
You know, I'm sensitive to the sadness that you must have felt over all of this time, and yet I'm also understanding that, and I'm sure Americans do, how frustrating this must be, especially when you compare and contrast what's happening now compared to what happened in the last administration.
Yeah, it took too long. I mean, this deal was ready back in December of 2023. It's very important for viewers to know that. And it took almost more than a year to nail this down, thanks to President Trump and his toughness. But it's not over yet. We have to get everybody out. My son is still there. Hopefully between now and 2 weeks from now, we will see him out as well.
So many people are frustrated and yet remain hopeful, as do you, that your son is safe and will be able to be released. While I have you, let me just run this by you. This is the president talking about running Gaza. It's an interesting idea to change the paradigm in that area. Let me share the sound and get your reaction quickly on the backside.
We're not going to buy anything. We're going to have it, and we're going to keep it, and we're going to make sure that there's going to be peace, and there's not going to be any problem, and nobody's going to question it. And we're going to run it very properly, and eventually we'll have economic development at a very large scale, maybe the largest scale on that site.
Listen, Addie, I've been covering this story throughout my career, and it's the first time that I can remember that a major leader in this world has decided to try to float an idea that's completely different, and if cooperated with leaders in the region, it just might work. What's your reaction to what the president is proposing?
First of all, we don't doubt his sincerity. I mean, we have to take the president seriously, not literally. This strategy might work, but again, this strategy and this idea is good for the second phase of the deal, but we have to be concentrated on the first phase, to extend the first phase, to get everybody out, and just to pass it over the finish line.
That's beautifully said. If you had one message for the president, for the White House, and for all the negotiators who are working tirelessly, Addie, at this hour, in an attempt to bring home your son, what would that message be?
The message is really simple. We have to keep this issue front and center. Don't forget that it was 45 Americans killed on that day on October 7th of 2023. We have to push harder, pass it over the finish line. We have so many hostages to go to waiting to be out, and that's a very important issue, a humanitarian issue.
Indeed. It is such an important issue. I know that we're all watching very carefully and very hopeful and prayerful for the return of Edan. Edan Alexander, thank you so much for your time today. Continued blessings to you and yours, and let's hope for a very good ending very soon. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.